I figured I would start with my vintage binder. Um, this is a non-TCG binder, so they're all official Pokemon cards, but they're not part of the trading card game. These cards are referred to as Carddass, and they were created by Bandai, and they were sold through vending machines. So to the best of my knowledge, you put in a 100 yen coin in the vending machine, and then you turn the dial, and you get a packet of, I think, 5 cards, and they were just wrapped in like a little paper band. I'll see if I can put up a picture. And you got these cards. And there's no like traditional rarity split yet. You just have prismatic, prisms as they were called, which is like the equivalent to a hollow, and non-prismatic, non-prism. So there's no like common, uncommon, rare, you name it. And they don't have like, energy, fighting moves, HP. They're not TCG cards. They're just collectibles. These are the very first cards that came out. So they came out in 1996 in Japan, only in Japan, and they were released before Japanese base set. So these are Pokemon's kind of rookie cards. And I think that's something that really makes them special, that sets them apart. So I love the vintage kind of artwork. It's only the original Gen 1 Pokemon. And I just love the kind of storytelling, right? The whole fact that these are like Pokemon's rookie cards. And that this is where it all began. They were released in 2 variants, so green and red, to match the original Japanese games, which were green and red. And green was released first, and red shortly after. But both were released before base set. Now, I collected both. You'll see there's some gaps here and there. For example, I still need a green Charmeleon. Then something that is likely to have happened here is that I got a large green collection in, and I decided that this Charmeleon was worth grading. So you'll see some empty pockets here and there, and that I still intend to fill up. I have a few of them. If you've watched my Paris vlog, I got a couple cards. So these 3 I bought in Paris, and this is a card that I got on eBay for a reasonably good deal. And I haven't had the time to put them in yet, so I'll do that as we go. But first I'll show you a little bit more of the collection. So I put all of this in a Collector Beast binder, which is 20 cards per page. And I did this because this was the only way that allowed me to put all of the vintage collection into one binder, which I thought was cool. And I have Carddass in here, the second series of Carddass, and Topsun cards. And they're all vintage Pokemon cards, all Japanese, 1996, 1997. So these are all complete pages, relatively straightforward, right? And I believe Carddass 1996, which is this set, has 16 prismatics. So on every side, so 16 green ones, 16 red ones. And they're typically just the end of evolution lines, right? What you'd expect. And a couple legendaries. Alakazam, Machamp, Golem. Here we have a missing Grimer. But that's one of the cards that I bought. All right, let me grab a better sleeve. So for my binders, I typically use perfect fit sleeves. And because Carddass cards are slightly smaller, here I'll highlight it. So normally for normal TCG cards, these cards are, well, perfect fit, as the name implies. Here I've created a little kind of card cam. But here you can see that there's a little bit of extra space because these cards are ever so slightly smaller, which I think is a good thing because then you get that kind of coverage at the top as well. So yeah, this was, I probably sent off a red Grimer for grading, and now I bought back a nice binder copy. So that is this page completed. The same here. So I've got the Voltorb, still an original side-loading sleeve. Well, that's definitely bought in Japan then. And the Marowak's the same, also side-loaded sleeve. Nice. So I've only got a couple slots left to go. And I'm in no rush. Like, my goal is to go to Japan, ideally somewhere this year. And there are a lot more available there. So it should be, you know, I've just made a little list and I should be able to pick everything up in one go when I visit. Still need the green Gengar. I also sent that off for grading. Tangela. And then as we approach kind of the end of the Pokedex, you'll start to see a lot more prisms, right? The kind of legendary cards. All the birds are prisms. Mewtwo is a prism. And then here on this final page, you see Mew. So this goes to 151. And then there's a couple extra cards, 7 in this case. So you have these little Pokedex cards that run from 1 through 4. And these are just, you know, little index cards. This is the back of them. That just show you all the cards that are in the set. So they're kind of like little checklists. So let me flip it around. And this is the front. And then there are 3 trainer cards. Blastoise, Venusaur, and Charizard. And I already had the Blastoise. I didn't have the Venusaur or the Charizard yet, but I got the Charizard in recently. So here, let me adjust it. Here we go. And these are also kind of like, you know, bonus cards. They come with this little map on the back. They're just there for a little bit of, you know, extra flavor. Now, because this is a binder copy, I don't have a, you know, particularly high demand of their quality. I think if the front looks nice, that's good enough for me. So I'll slot that in. So yeah, I need the Venusaur and then a couple regular ones. And then I'll have the entire 1996 green and red Carddass complete. But it's essentially complete. You know, all the missing cards I'm either getting back graded or are very easy to come by. So that's Carddass 1996. And then I'm going on to Topsun 1997. So this was released in packets of gum. So you would buy these little packs, and they would contain, I think, 2 sticks of gum and 2 of these cards. And they come in the normal cards, which kind of have this, you know, almost baseball cardy vibe. And these are the prisms. These are very flimsy. They are like stickers, technically. And it's hard to explain. But they're completely different kind of texture and structure than what you would expect of a TCG card, which also makes them hard to come by because a lot of them were just simply used as stickers. And they're also tricky to grade because they're so, you know, easy to damage. They're very, very kind of structurally weak. This was originally mistaken, or a couple years back, like during the COVID Pokemon boom, mistaken as the original Pokemon cards. So these slabs from that time will have to say like Topsun 1995, but it's been cleared up in the meantime. And these are from 1997. So they were released, I believe, just after base set, Japanese base set. I'll have to double check. And they also come in 2 variants. It's a little less obvious from the front because it's not like, you know, Carddass 1996 where you have clear green and red. But here you have something called a blue bag, which is the original print, and a greenback, which you would call like second print now. And it is noticeable from the front once you train your eye a little bit. So I'll put these up for in the kind of card count. So this is the blue back. And you will see that the colors are just slightly less, how do I want to say it, bright or like vital. And then when you see the greenback, they just pop a little bit more. And I suppose it'll be a little bit harder to see on camera, but in person, once you know what to look for, you get quite good at distinguishing these. And here I have a couple more gaps, right? So you have the main set, 2 of each, and then the hollows here are additional. So you will have Venusaur blue back, Venusaur green back, and then Venusaur hollow, which has only 1 back. So it's not like Carddass, where the hollows are part of the main set. They're kind of on top of the main set, but I still decided to include them throughout the binder pages. So you can see here that I've taken out all the Charizards. So I've sent these 2 off for grading, the normal Charizards, and I have this in a slab, and I'm looking for a good binder copy. And in the Topsun binder, I'll have a couple more gaps. Here you can see my Blastoise prism. And I think this and the set that's coming is one of my favorites. I just love this kind of quirky vibe and all the, you know, the old school artworks. It's all Ken Sugimori, I believe. It just has that vintage nostalgic feel to it. I absolutely love these. So here's a nice complete page. And here, like the basic cards I kind of all have, I'm missing quite a lot of the prisms. Those are also a little bit more expensive, but they should be reasonably available when I go to Japan. And I'll be able to hopefully pick them all up. So here the Evolutions also have prisms. So the Eevee, the Vaporeon, I have the Jolteon, another gap. And then here I have the Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, Dragonite, and I have the Mewtwo. And this does not really have any extra cards. So there's no like index cards, Pokedex cards, you name it. And then the penultimate big piece is another Carddass set. And this is called Carddass 1997, or also known as Carddass Part 3 and 4. They were, created as a kind of, second set after the initial success. And these, I think, artwork and vibe-wise, might be my favorite. This is the smallest set, because it doesn't come in like this color differentiated format, where there's like red and green or different backs. It's just one set all the way through. There's 2 extra cards, I believe, or 3. So there's only like 152, 153 cards in this set, which make it pretty attainable. And again, awesome artworks. It's all Ken Sugimori. And here you also have prismatics. They're a little bit harder to see. So for example, this Amistar is prismatic. And you can see it a lot better on the card cam, right? So it's got this like block, hollow pattern. And here on the camera, you can see it pretty well, for example, on the Eevee. Or on the Gyarados, on the Scyther. So slightly different hollow choices. Yeah, exactly. So here on this last page, you'll see a lot of prisms. And then it goes up to Mew. And then there's 2 bonus cards. And this one is called just Carddass. I'll put it up. And this is again kind of like an index list. So this is called Carddass. And you'll see on the back, it's like a little checklist of everything that's in the set. And there's one other one, and that's called Bandai Starters. And that's the only one I'm missing. So that's probably also the rarest card in the set. But again, I'll be picking it up when I visit Japan. And I really love this set. And ultimately, and that's a very big stretch goal, I would love to get all of this in a PSA 10. I don't think there's any collections out there that have complete like these vintage Carddass sets fully PSA 10. I know like the original Carddass 1996, there's a gentleman that has all the prisms for both colors in PSA 10. So that's obviously the meat of the collection. But I think it would be cool to do all of them. And I want to start with this set because it's the smallest and it's the cheapest, and there's relatively high supply. You know, they were printing a little bit more after, you know, they saw the initial success of Pokemon. So this should be the easiest, which doesn't mean it's easy. It just means it's the easiest. And I think that will be a fun long-term project to work on. And then again, you'll notice, hey, there's more Topsun here. And I separated it from the kind of main Topsun collection. And that's because these are error cards. And there's exactly 50 of them. So this is the full collection. And it doesn't run, you know, through perfect evolution lines. So here you'll see Bulbasaur the Venusaur, Charmander the Charizard, and then no Blastoise, for example, or no Metapod and Butterfree. So these were the very, very first print. So they're all blue bags. And they are error cards. And what this means is that they forgot to print numbers on them. So with the regular Topsun, let me see. I've got a couple duplicates, so I'll put up an example. So this is the normal Hitmonchan, right? And there's two main things that you should kind of look for. So one is this number, 107. And as you can see, all the regular cards have this. And there's also this kind of black line that borders this name box. And then when I show you the error card, both of these will be missing. So there's no number here, and also that black border is missing. So I'll show you the difference one more time. So number and border, and neither. So these were, well, a misprint, if you will, which means that they are the oldest Topsun cards, which obviously means that they're highly sought after. And there's 50 of them before they fixed it. The Charizard, blue back, no number error. If you get that in a PSA 10, that's like an insane grill card. So this one is completely busted up. So the back is super poor. It's like a, you know, binder copy. But the PSA 10 of this, I think they've ran from everywhere between like $50,000 and $200,000. So it's an insane kind of grill chase card. Maybe one day. And yeah, that's all 50 of them in binder copies. So what I like about this collection is that it's, well, first of all, it's all vintage. It's 96, 97, all Japanese, very original, very cool artworks and vibes. And they're all just binder pieces. And like so much now is about quality and slabs or sealing your product away in cases. And, you know, I just like being able to look at it and go through this binder and not be in the biggest rush to complete it. You know, enjoy it a little bit. So that's my vintage Japanese Pokemon binder. And I've only really got one other binder, which is a lot more modern. And makes for, oh, what's this? Makes for a bit of a basic story, I guess. And that's 151. It's the set that got me back in. And my original goal was to master set this. So all the reverses are in there. And it's just a regular binder, or well, a 12 sleeve binder, I guess. which I think works nice with, you know, how these reverses are laid out. Because with a 9 page, you're always kind of off kilter. Now when you get an EX, you know, you also jump. So here you have an Alakazam, and then, you know, your set start to skip again, but you'll quickly get another EX. Like you have the Golem, and then you're back in sync. So I don't know. I kind of like this way of doing it, and I pulled a lot of this myself, and then I went on Card Market for the first time to buy my missing singles, and this was just a very fun experience. As a kid, I never, you know, completed like a master set or anything. I would just, you know, collect random cards that I thought were cool. So this was my first master set experience. And then here all the secret rares start. And you'll see here that I've taken out the big chases. Oh no, right, that's how they're ordered. Never mind. And then here the full arts. And I'm not a big fan of these cards. I think they look quite stupid. It's just a character model on this kind of rendered background. I don't know. Yep, the big 3 here. I sent 1 or 2 Charizards off for grading. I pulled 2 originally, and then 1 later during a random pack opening. But neither got a 10. I got an 8 and a 9 back, sadly. And this is the normal Mew, and then I put most of the promos in. So I think these came from the calendar box, or what was it called, like the binder collection. And one of the other ones, the Snorlax from the ETB. You have the Mewtwo. What's this? Alright, this is the metal card. I guess it won't stay put. Oh yeah, and then even for real completionist's sake, I put in 1 of every energy and 1 of every holographic energy. So yeah, nothing too special, but I thought worth showing. This was what got me back in, and extremely fun. After this, I went on a bit of a unhinged Pokemon binge, where I bought way too much of Paradox Rift and Paldean Fates after. And realized that none of those sets really meant anything to me. So I kind of got bored with collecting for a bit again. Felt like I wasted a lot of money, and took a bit of a hiatus until like beginning of last year. I started to slowly get back in with a little bit more of a, you know, focused approach to what I wanted to collect. So yeah, that's the 151 master set. All right, so next up are the slabs. And there's not many slabs that I would consider personal collection. I do have a bunch of slabs that I would consider inventory. And I'll just show you all of it for completion's sake. So this is definitely a PC slab. I really like it. It's a Wizards of the Coast Eevee promo. It had a different artwork in Japanese, which is kind of the derpy unnumbered promo Eevee. I'll put it up on the screen. So this was kind of my West unique artwork. I got it in a 9. It's just a very fun card that I have out on display. I think I paid like $80 for it. But I really like it. It's just kind of represents the era for me. I have Misty's Tears, banned card. This was banned in the West. And in Japan as well, they changed the artwork to kind of a Squirtle wiping Misty's tears away, because Misty is an underage character and they put too much nudity in. I think just the story behind those banned cards and kind of the cultural impact that Pokemon started to have, which is obviously why this became a problem, you know, is captured in cards like this. So I think it's a cool collection piece. Then my favorite modern cards are the stamp box promos. This is the Cramorant in a 10 and the Pikachu in a 10. And yeah, these are definitely personal collection. I love this kind of ukiyo-e Japanese art style, and these were must-haves for me. Then another kind of random pickup, Erica's Maids. I just thought this looked cool, this artwork. It's kind of like this feudal Japanese vibe, even though these kind of costumes are not very feudal, but I guess it's Erica herself that did it for me. I think I picked this up for like $50 because it looked cool. And then I have Hanafuda card, which is the little card game. I'm not sure if this is PC or not. I picked this up in Paris, if you check my Paris video, and I way overpaid for it. So technically I could sell it, but I would just be taking a random loss. And now, you know, it's a fun card, could be fun memory. So this is kind of, yeah, half PC, if you will. Then I have a bunch of slabs that I would consider inventory. So I do a little bit of selling on the side. They are still slabs that I think are cool. So I try to only buy stuff that if I were to never sell it, I would still be okay with keeping it. So for me, that means Generation 1, Evolutions, maybe some legendaries, specific cool artworks. And I try to be a little bit niche with it. And I've made plenty of mistakes already where I was just buying random stuff. And then it just sits in your case or in your singles binder forever. And, you know, it's just not really a good feeling. So I've kind of changed that approach. First one is the Dark Venusaur in a 9. I think it's just a really cool card. Like I said, I have a thing for the Eevees and the Evolutions. This came with a DVD, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a unique Japanese artwork. So it might not be the most special of artworks, but it's on a list of like, I think 10 or 12 Eevee cards that don't have a counterpart in English. So that gives it, you know, some value right away. And same for this one. It's Eevee on the ball. Again, I'm not a huge fan of, you know, football or this artwork, but what does make this card unique is that it's the only Eevee artwork that is unique to the West. So there's no Japanese equivalent of this Eevee, which is quite rare. Well, very rare, because it's the only one. So I had to have one, but still, one I would also gladly sell when time arrives. Probably the most expensive card I have in inventory is the Poncho wearing Eevee, the Umbreon version. I think these are really cool cards, highly sought after. And yeah, this is definitely the big boy, but I have a few more coming up. Also have the Glaceon in the 10. I got Moonbreon Chinese in the 10. I actually pulled this myself from, you know, one of those big Chinese evolution boxes. I'll put a picture up. You've probably seen them around somewhere. I pulled this and it looked extremely good. I sent it off for grading. Got it back at 10, which is good because I opened like 5 of those boxes and yeah, this bad boy essentially broke even on that whole act of degeneracy. So that's great. Then I have this Cleffa and I have 2 of them. This is definitely one of my favorite artworks, period, especially out of Scarlet Violet. So this is Obsidian Flame's counterpart, Ruler of the Black Flame. These are the Japanese ones. And I just think this card is absolutely mesmerizing. I'm a big fan of, you know, empty space. I don't like all the screamy, overly busy cards. It's also probably why I'm not a big fan of stuff like the tag team cards. I think this is gorgeous. Very happy to have those. Couple more ponchos in a 9. Got a couple 9s. Got the Flareon in a 9 twice. Pokekyun. So this is a Radiant collection, but then the Japanese counterpart. Also highly sought after XY, kind of mid-era. And I think these cards will only, you know, increase in value in the future. The other big one from the set is this Flareon. It was just a time where there wasn't that much in print. You know, Pokemon was kind of in a lull. And them being Eevee cards, they're just very highly sought after. And I just enjoy collecting them. The Poncho wearing Eevee again. The Leafeon. This derpy thing. I kind of hate this card. It looks stupid, and I don't really appreciate it in like a fun, stupid way. So I'll be pretty happy once I sell this. Oh yeah, more Pokecune. These are the Sylveons. I used to have two of the Flareons as well, but I sold those. But I think these, well, they are very busy cards, you know, aesthetically. But I still think they look very cool. They've kind of got this low-key, you know, Christmassy vibe going on. And I also think these will only do better in the future. Then I have the same Sylveon in English. So this is Radiant Collection. 2 9s. The Zapdos Unnumbered promo. This was from the Anna airline promo, Nippon Airways. Very cool kind of comic-y style artwork, which I really like. Jasmine's Jolteon, the first ad. The Eevee from Town Unknown Map, so there's just a little bit of kind of E-series versus now. Split Earth, so these are kind of the equivalents for the Skyridge Aquapolis era. Wells Espeon. I love the artwork on these. I think they're just super cool. And Karen's Flareon. Those are the slabs I have currently. And so like I said, I've only got like 5 slabs that I consider PC. And the rest I've got up for sale, or I'm planning to sell when the time comes. And it's not like I got all of these at like a super good early price and I'm sitting on like fat profit. Like most of these I just bought in the last year. And I just wanted to, you know, get my feet wet and see if I liked selling some cards on the side as a hobby. And I do like it as a hobby. You know, once it starts to get busy and you notice how repetitive it gets, or you're dealing with a lot of crap, you know, that tells me straight away that it's not something that I would want to do full time or will be able to do full time. So a hobby it will remain. Now I do have a bunch of PSA submissions underway. So I think I'm waiting for around 180 slabs. And it's in 3 submissions. And 1 I'm expecting back soon-ish. So I sent it off in the middle of September. So it's almost 4 months ago. So that, based on my previous submission, and I've only done 1 prior, they should come back towards the end of this month. But let's see. And in that submission, I've got all the Carddass and Topsun cards that you saw missing and a bunch of other stuff. And if I hit a couple 10s there, then that would definitely start me off on a bigger slab personal collection. Maybe kickstart that process of getting those vintage Japanese cards in 10s collected. And yeah, otherwise just add to my inventory and hopefully sell a couple cards and get some more money in to save up for that Japan trip that I'm hoping to go on, so that I can finish my binder there, maybe hunt for a couple gems, and otherwise be on the lookout for, you know, high quality Carddass cards that might be worth sending to PSA when I get home. Yeah, I think that's it basically. I've shown you my binders and my slabs while I have a box of singles, but those are all up for sale. And I don't know. I don't think they're the most interesting cards to show off for now. So that's a little bit on my collection, where it stands, and my collection goals. So step 1 is to, well, step 1 is basically to sell off as much stuff as I can in the next couple months. That's my short-term goal. And build as much of a piggy bank as possible for step 2, which is go to Japan and buy as many of the missing binder copies and just, you know, have fun and get a feel for the lay of the land there. See what the Pokemon scene is like. I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos, but, you know, it's easy to fool yourself into thinking it's some kind of Pokemon Valhalla, where reality is probably that it's been overrun for years now by people looking to make money. So we'll see if there's any kind of fun vintage stores left where some Carddass or Topsun can be found, either at a good price or in good quality. Like, I'm not too bothered by getting the best deal, but if they're only in crap condition and high price, then that would obviously suck. Yeah, and then after that we'll see. Like, I think it would be very, very interesting and very, very fun for me personally if I could get into a rhythm of doing 1 or 2 Japan trips every year to, work on my long-term collection goals and just see more of the country. And if a Pokemon collection can be the excuse for me to live that kind of lifestyle, then I think that's great. I think that's also the power of this hobby for me. It just gets me to go places where I otherwise wouldn't have thought of. End up at like these little conventions or meeting and talking to interesting people, and it's a vehicle, right, to make life more fun, ultimately. And that's definitely what it's doing for me. So that's great. Yeah, I'll do an update video when I get my PSA submissions back, and I'll be able to show you a lot more about the state of my collection, maybe some next steps, and I have plenty of ideas for other content in the meantime. I'm meaning to do another couple kind of more vloggy videos visiting card shops, but it's only been snowing and raining and otherwise being miserable here right now. So that's a little bit limited at the moment. But once the weather starts to clear up, I'm going to try to hit the streets again and show you some fun shops. All right, bit of a long video, but hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.